get it out. I want it to be out there. So I want to price it so that it gets out. And then it will do its magic. And it will create a larger and larger audience, and then you get your point. If I was to start there at supply and demand, there is no demand. At the beginning, there is no demand. Like he's trying to say, I want to show you because ain't nobody knocking on my door, right? Right? So he wants to get it out, you young man. So this is the concept, is to get it out is through the social media concept. So I actually feel like, let's think about this. Getting it out, pricing things to make them move. I would suggest beginning artists think about it. All what Diane said is that the size and the materials and so forth, and the level, sophistication and level of technique should be factored in to that. But I really think you really need to get it out there. And so, yes, going to the business model, is that sometimes you have lost leaders. You sell something that is a little bit lower than what you really want to sell this for, but that's to get the people into the door.
But Patrick, I think that's exactly where the meeting of the patron, as we talked about earlier, and the artist becomes very important. So that the educated eye, the trained eye, will be able to say to the emerging artist, this is good work. I really appreciate it. You put a lot of time and energy here. I appreciate what you're doing. This needs to be priced accordingly. Let me help you. You can support by doing a lot of different things. If you, in fact, can appreciate and understand the effort, the time, the energy, the material that went into producing whatever it is, and you can say to that emerging artist, no, don't price it at $150. This needs to be priced at $500. You can sell this at $500. You're pricing it too low. Or, no. This is priced too high at $1,000. You may want to consider $500. This is where, when we come together and understand the magic of, I like it, I appreciate it, I understand it, I accept what you've done, and I'm going to tell you that as part of this process, you can value your piece in the market. That's the marketplace at a certain price. No less than, no more than. And I think that conversation needs to take place. That's what the patron does. And helps the emerging artists in making sure that they're priced for the market.
Jeffrey asked a question about corporations and demanding and so forth. And my mind went immediately back to the very beginning. One of the first questions here, and then these sort of things that we talked about earlier this morning, and that is this patron collector concept. And I was saying about this self-identification, that people have to recognize who they are in this process, and that with that recognition of who you are in that process, there becomes obligations and responsibilities. Is that a patron of the arts has responsibilities. So when Diane was saying, and these people are on the board, these collectors are on the board, if they are just a collector, i.e. I'm just acquiring pieces, but I have no relationship to artists, I have no relationship to pushing the culture and so forth, and they are not patrons of the culture, i.e. they have responsibilities, then they don't even see I'm sitting in a spot of authority to affect change, and I'm not utilizing my authority because you have not been talking to them. They don't even hear you. That they had a responsibility sitting on the board to make sure this corporation has this representation in the cultural arena. If you have not made that clear, they don't see it. This is why I'm harping on why we first have to get people to self-identify. Because otherwise, you're talking to the wall. They're in the room, but they ain't hearing you. They don't even know that they are the ones that you're addressing this conversation to. So they can be sitting in these positions and not function, and think that they're doing a good job.
Thank you. Okay, we got roughly 10 more minutes. I hope you enjoy yourself today. I want to let you remind you that this is brought to you by Black Art in America. This is our Do You Possible campaign, list of events, discussions for the collective is Wolfsonian. I want to continue to thank our panelists and everyone for being here. We want to remind you to join Black Art in America at blackartinamerica.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, as well as let your friends know what we're doing. You know, our mission is to document, preserve, and promote the contributions of the African American arts community. And we need your support to make things like this happen. 365 days a year, we are a virtual space to reach over 180 foreign countries to promote the art that comes from our community. We've had an impact. We've had over 4 million page views of art that looks like the art that's up on your screen. It's about artists, it's about collectors, it's about connecting people and utilizing social media to make that happen. We need your help and your support. At the 3 o'clock hour, we have what we are dubbing as our World Vanguard Art Benefit. You'll be able to take in some drinks, some snacks, some food to eat, as well as, you know, network and let's figure out how we can keep the conversations going and be more supportive of our artists and our institutions, and also what we're doing with Black Art in America. Are there any follow-up questions or statements?
I would like to call out Dr. Elena Besson, because I know she's always has a wonderful question and or comment with regard to the subject that we have been discussing today. She is a collector and a thinker, and I would like to hear what she has to say.
Well, I must say that I came in the conversation, but what I heard is something that we talk about, that we have to reach out and network in regards to supporting our Black artists and demanding. You know, when I go into hotels and I see this art around, and I don't think any of that art is by Black artists, and we patronize a lot of businesses, but we don't make demands of them in terms of our Black artists. And really hosting in the home, you know, I never thought of doing that, but I think that needs to be, and we also need to encourage our young artists, because so often we see the big names and we forget that there are others who are coming up behind that we have to really invest in their work also.
Yes. In the back. Please.
I'm not an artist. I hang around artists.
You're a groupie.
One of the things about what scares me about demanding corporations to put art in their businesses is how they're going to treat the art. Because a few years ago, I knew Oscar Thomas. I used to hang out in the studio. The Oscar Thomas painting that is on the wall, a group of people who are, I'm going to say it, who were not Black, purchased that spot, took the Oscar Thomas painting and set it on the roof. Yeah. You know, they knew it was Martin Luther King because of his style. I mean, Oscar Thomas is a very known artist in the Miami area. They took that mural, put it on the roof, and birds, rain, the sun, and we found out, and a friend of mine by the name of Adonis Parker was commissioned to redo the painting. But Adonis is a different type of painter than Oscar Thomas. So what happens to pieces when the corporations grow tired of looking at it? Are they going to take it down and put it in the collectional archive? Or are they going to say, okay, we're changing the look of this store, let's throw this out on the heap, and next thing you know, it's going to be in a garbage somewhere. Because how many painters, you've gone to yard sales or to paint and find out, there it is.
That's okay.
I just want to comment on that. Faith Ringo was here last year at the Miami Art Museum, and many of you know who she is. One of her major paintings, which was installed in a women's prison, it was a mural, very large. After many years, about 15 or 20, the women's prison then turned into a men's prison. And the men decided they were tired of looking at all these women. What she did was she incorporated the various roles of women in society in different professions. They were tired of looking at the women. They made a pejorative comment about the bitches, and they painted over it. And it was forgotten about. Literally forgotten about. And somehow or another, in the course of some change over administration of the prison system, it was rediscovered. And it was redone by Faith herself. They paid tens of thousands of dollars more to her to restore it than what she was paid for the original. But art does get discarded. It does get neglected. It does get thrown away because it's not valued properly. And this is part of the discussion. If it's not valued by you personally so that you will take care of it and follow it and house it and archive it and don't let it get flooded in the basement or forgotten about in auntie's attic. You know, it's that kind of thing. And I don't know if it's always by design and deliberate or political. Sometimes it could be. But this is what happens when we don't treasure, value, and nurture what is ours. And so it's an individual responsibility, it's a community responsibility, it's a corporate responsibility. But it happens. It happens all the time.
I think that one of the things we can do, and I'm sure lots of people thought about this in different ways, is I was at a family reunion recently, and we were all talking about the importance of trying to raise money for kids to college and all the different things we needed to do as an extended family, what things were important to us. And one of my aunts felt that we really need to come up with a kind of a family legacy statement. What's important to us? Is it, education? Is it arts? If arts is important to us, what is it important for us to do with arts? Is it important for us to collect it? Is it important for us to support local artists? What types of things can we do? So it was very interesting because we all enjoyed getting together, eating all that cooking and all that other stuff. But, that was the way that many of our families come together. But we never really had a real serious conversation about some of the things we can actually do, the legacies we want to leave. And what came out of that discussion around this collection that I told you about is that different members of the family are going to do different things to inventory this collection. We began to talk to the young people in the family about the importance of keeping this stuff. Who's going to do that? What individual in the family is going to share that responsibility? Because all this time it had been sitting in my house and in storage, nobody was helping with it. My grandmother was literally going to throw it in the trash, literally. She got tired of it. Everybody moved out of Chicago. It was just in her basement. So we're trying right now to make a serious commitment to work together because no one person can do it. To keep the collection alive, to make sure that it's preserved. So I think it kind of goes back to a lot of things that Patrick has already said, and many of us here, is that we have to make a commitment, personally, to commit to one, supporting the artists, being a patron to the arts, preserving the collection that we have, and looking at other resources that we have to make a difference. I've heard a lot of different things here today, and I'm still learning a lot. What I'm trying to understand, I'm sure we can have more conversation at the reception, is when I look at the matrix that's out there, whether it's the collectors, whether it's the artists, whether it's the auction house, whether it's the galleries, people talk about our galleries so important. You're going to have people come to your home and do all these other things. What role do they play? What I'd like to learn, and I'll talk to Patrick and others here, yourself, Diane, as the appraiser, is how do all these different pieces fit together to help nurture emerging artists, to help preserve the collections of the masters? How do these different levels of individuals, can it be done, or is it being done through your organization, Patrick and others, in a collective way where these questions that we have, the value of art, can it be like the central place, like Art in America or other institutions, your group, that people would eventually find out through social media and all these great ways we have to connect, kind of the go-to places or the go-to individuals or the go-to groups to get these questions answered. I'm just trying to figure out, what place does a gallery have as things emerge? What place does an auction house has? Quite frankly, I'm still interested in figuring out how we can open up an auction house, because if we need to control pricing, does an auction house play a role? What role does a gallery play? So I'm really, really excited that we have so many of the ingredients here so that we can continue the dialogue and figure out how we can utilize the resources we have and the talents we have here to make sure that all of us, in the broader way possible, can be a part of preserving and celebrating emerging artists and the masters and stuff that we have. So I'm really excited about the conversation that.
That's a great, Celeste, thank you for that. That's a great point to end it. It's just to let you know, we want to keep the conversations going. We have a 3 o'clock art benefit reception. There's going to be drinks, cocktails, and so forth. I want to thank, if we could, thank our I want to thank you for being involved with what we're doing. Please let your friends know what we're doing with Black Art in America. We need your support. We don't have corporate funding. We're basically a ragtag group of people who have an interest in art. We love what we're doing, and we're interested in supporting our efforts and seeing events like this take place. Please get with the team that we have here. I want to let you know, if you can't stay for 3 o'clock hour, you've got to stop by our space, the Mobile Media Lounge at Elementary Gallery at 59 Northwest 36th Street. We have a great variety of work by artists that have contributed to support our programming that we're providing free of charge. With that said, I want to thank you once again for being here, and we'll start at 3 o'clock. Be sure to visit the museum upstairs. You should be able to have access to that. And if you have any questions, please get with one of us. Thank you again.